This is an emergency. Can you hear me, Mirage? Roll out. Calling all Autobots. Calling all Autobots.
First question I had really is for both of you, which is, how do you come into a franchise such as Transformers and make it your own?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Like originally, like for me, it always starts with characters and story. As generic as that may sound, but like it's truly, if I'm bringing something to the table, who in this movie I connect with, who can I relate to? Me as a person, I'm already different from Travis Knight and Michael Bay. Sorry, and Michael Bay.
Who's the other guy?
So yeah, so like I think for me is who's the other, the legend. So for me, it's like, all right, since I'm different from them as a person, like what can I bring? How can I bring me to the table? So that, and that goes into every sequence, every line, trying to bring authenticity to the world in New York City in the '90s, and when I'm in places like Peru, how can I really not? I didn't want to go there for the scope and the action. I want to go there to capture the culture and the beauty and the history and the ruins and things like that. So that feels like me, and that's how I feel like I can bring a stamp to probably any franchise. You know, it's finding those moments and those things like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I remember in Peru, you were telling me about the first time that you were pitching the movie and what it exists, how it existed before then, and really bringing that, you know, the story of the issues with the healthcare and things you would never imagine seeing in a Transformer movie, and how once you have something that's rooted in a character struggle that people can relate to, I think you right there kind of have a different movie and something that's got a lot of heart and can relate to. Just reading the script when I obviously came on later, and there was already a script that you developed, and as soon as you read the script from page one, it's like, wow, this is great. This is going to be something that draws you in a different way.
And then, Steven, what have you learned, since your first feature film, The Land, a few years ago? What have you learned, and how did you apply what you've learned to the Transformers?
Oh my God, that's a great question. What did I learn during The Land and Creed 2 that applied to Transformers? Transformers is a huge learning curve for me. Like, there's a lot of really cool things, and I basically went to film school all over again. You know, I worked hard with the visual effects department, and especially Gary, who was our visual effects supervisor. And every weekend during prep, I would literally take classes. He would break down like how a shot is done in like the CG world, and it was super helpful. It was super helpful for me to kind of find my rhythm and my style and how I want to approach everything. And it was far different from anything I've actually worked on before. The things I can say that I pulled from it, many action sequences, always tracking the character, always taking, like I said, keeping an eye on the story itself, and make sure that every scene is sort of motivated, you know, that there isn't a scene for the sake of seeing, there isn't a fight for the sake of fighting, there isn't a skateboard move for the sake of having a skateboard in a movie. Like, everything was motivated by the characters themselves, and that's something I stayed true to throughout.
And James, you were Mr. Action. How do you balance, when filming, when trying to maximize the action value, so to speak, in a movie? How do you balance the actual action with the close-up shots of the character to kind of show, to reflect that action?
I mean, that's something that we always try to start with. Everything that motivates all the action, as Steven was saying, comes from character and story. So with that as our foundation, that just drives how we shoot everything. So in terms of doing close-up shots with the actual actors, Steven will go through and get those first, and I will make sure that everything I shoot will blend with that perfectly. So in a way, you're kind of editing in your mind as you shoot, because we're out there, it might be raining, it might be snowing, it might be who knows what it's going to be. So you might have to change your plan or whatever, but as long as you're staying focused on what the actual story is and where the character's mindset is at the time, that really just drives all of your decisions.